On 7 News tonight, welcoming 2016. Sydney does it again in incredible style and trouble-free. And by dawn, the harbour city shines again. New Year's rip-off. Thousands pay for a 5-star event and get anything but. Now they want a refund. A 15-year-old boy brought back to life on one of the busiest days of the year at Sydney's beaches. The 91-year-old great-great-grandmother robbed last night in her own home. Her family demands justice for the cowardly attack. A skyscraper hotel explodes into flames. Fiery debris rains down from 20 floors. And Mariah Carey at her brilliant best at her private Australian concert and her dedication to boyfriend James Packer.
This is 7 News at 6 with Melissa Doyle.
Good evening. As far as New Year's Eve parties go, last night's celebration to welcome 2016 was just about perfect. A dazzling 12-minute fireworks display at midnight thrilled thousands of spectators around the harbour and millions more worldwide. Lord Mayor CLOVER declaring them the world's best.
Sydney's New Year's Eve, the world's first major celebration and surely the best. 100,000 fireworks detonated over 2 shows, 25% of them in the last 30 seconds. The bridge exploding in a cascade of fire. A spectacular end to a night that began with another cracker performance, low-level aerobatics over the harbour, propelling a crowd estimated at 1.5 million into an unforgettable night of harbourside partying. The family fireworks came first at 9. Jaw-dropping for some, too much for others. Power naps before the pyrotechnic finale, midnight's Big Bang. A barrage of blasts from 7 harbour barges, the foresails of the Opera House and the bridge. A 12-hour wait for a 12-minute show. No one here was complaining. Perfect way to ring in the new year or give a New Year's ring.
What did you say?
I said maybe. Then I said yes.
Everyone happy to spread the New Year cheer far and wide.
Happy New Year!
Scenes repeated across the city, Parramatta and Campbelltown among those staging their own firework festivals. But for hundreds of thousands, 2016's first challenge was getting home. Most found their way onto extra buses and trains. Some just stopped where they dropped, here sacking out in the sand at Bondi. The perfect night was followed by the perfect dawn, a new day for a new year. A few were still there long after sunrise.
He's had a fun night.
Others, though, had to get straight to work. Like the 350 council cleaners rostered to sweep the city streets of 60 tonnes of bottles, cans and litter. It was an extraordinary effort, most of it done before 8 this morning, this time-lapse showing the remarkable transformation at Milson's Point. The Mayor's verdict?
I think I can claim that they were, without a doubt, the most fantastic fireworks around the world for 2016.
She won't get much argument there.
Now, the bill for the show came to around $7 million, and as far as the City of Sydney is concerned, that was money well spent. Now, not just in the direct economic benefit of an expected $130 million from the event, but also the exposure, the advertising of Sydney around the world. More than 1 billion people are thought to have watched that fireworks show, and all of them, of course, are potential tourists. Now, you might have noticed, Mel, that for the first time in 20 years, they didn't reveal a logo on the bridge last night. The bridge effect, they call it. We've seen the word eternity, we've seen smiley faces and light bulbs. Well, this year they decided that the bridge could speak for itself. Mel?
I think it did. Thanks so much, Chris. Happy New Year.
And to you.
Now, police have praised Sydney revellers for their good behaviour last night. They were relatively few arrests and very little trouble, but some partygoers weren't happy over what they were served at one privately catered function.
More than 1 million people packed the city to welcome in 2016. And for most, it was the perfect performance.
My first Sydney New Year's, and it is everything I thought it would be.
Not so happy, some who paid up to $500 for a private party behind the Opera House. This was one woman's view, just smoke over a tent. People complained of spending hours queuing for drinks in the toilets. The advertised 5-star food looked anything but, prompting online comments like an absolute disgrace, the worst, a rip-off, and I need my money back. No staff there today, just security.
Yeah, you can't take any photos, mate.
7 News tried to contact the organisers, but had no response. Much happier were police commanders who'd been worried about drunken violence, even terrorism. As it turned out, there was little trouble. One even saying it was more like a quiet Monday night.
At this stage, we've only had 30 arrests, and half of those were for drug-related matters and a handful of assaults.
A female officer was hit with a bottle at Shalvey, while a police cyclist was knocked over by a car. Paramedics treated 2,000 people, mostly alcohol-related. The salvos lent a hand.
Helping out people who are particularly vulnerable and intoxicated.
1,000 extra police patrolled not just the city, but Bondi Beach and public transport, RBT and drug checks too.
Thank you very much.
These drivers were okay, but one man was picked up near Rose Hill 4 times over the limit. Booze was a problem in Perth, where there are several assaults and stabbings between midnight and 2 a.m. But Sydney-siders largely behaved themselves. The only fireworks in the sky. Peter Fegan, 7 News.
And after a slow start for many, the New Year celebrations continued well into today. From the beaches to the bars, revellers put off their resolutions for one more day to enjoy some fun in the sun.
9 a.m. and the pubs were still packed at Bondi Junction, a queue of people waiting to get in. Tents were up, but there was little sleep on Coogee Beach.
We've been late for 2 days.
Some chose to skip the festivities and got the year off to a healthy start instead.
I'm 48, I'm too old to have big nights.
Late risers are grateful for an all-day breakfast.
Looking for a good bacon egg sarnie?
Last night in Parramatta, 65,000 people turned out for Sydney's second biggest sky show. Firecrackers shooting from jet skis on the river and off buildings. Sunshine drew big crowds to the water today. An army of inflatables took over Gordon's Bay. Flamingos, ducks and pineapples. It was BYO air pumps, but strictly no booze. Marine police were on the water confiscating alcohol. The beats are pumping and the bars are getting a workout at the Ivy Pool Club. And there's more than one reason for these guys to celebrate.
It's my engagement party!
Well, Jessica Dietrich is now at Field Day in the Domain, and Jess, police are keeping a close watch on the crowd there.
Yes, they are, Mel. 28,000 music lovers have been rolling in since midday, and the festival is already halfway through. Now it's showcasing the very best of hip-hop, electronic and house artists right around the world. Disclosure is the headline act tonight. Now, police, there is a very strong police presence. They are checking at the gates for drugs and alcohol, and we have seen several people arrested and taken away. This all wraps up at around 11 tonight, and luckily everyone's got the entire weekend to recover. Mel.
And I think they're going to need it, Jess. Thanks so much. It has been a challenging day on our beaches, with 2 swimmers pulled unconscious from the water. Today is traditionally one of the busiest days on the water along Sydney's coast, and these are live pictures from the 7 News helicopter of the crowds at Bondi. One family today made a plea for swimmers to be careful after a surfer drowned on the Gold Coast.
The search for Joshua Dixon, who disappeared under a wave late yesterday, ended today with the discovery of the 34-year-old's body off Main Beach on the Gold Coast.
We do know he's at peace. Love your loved ones and be there for them.
At Mona Vale, a chance sighting saved a 17-year-old boy seen floating face down near the rock pool. Lifesavers revived him with CPR. At Coogee Beach, a man in his 30s was knocked unconscious, also found floating face down.
I think he was just going for a bit of a body surf, but maybe one of the shore dumpers got him, and he was just face down in the shallows.
Lifesavers dragged the man from the water.
After performing CPR for approximately 5 to 10 minutes, ambulance paramedics turned up on scene and continued the treatment, where the person regained their breathing and was transported unconscious.
Paramedics praised the surf lifesavers, whom they say truly lived up to their name. Meanwhile, their colleagues north and south were kept busy with 60 shark sightings in just the last 2 days. Swimmers at Hyams Beach near Jarvis Bay were ordered from the water as 15 sharks swam just metres from the shore. Blacksmiths Beach south of Newcastle also closed as aerial patrols are stepped up.
Swim between the flags where we can keep an eye on you, we can monitor the water.
Bryan, SEYMOUR, 7 News.
A luxury hotel in Dubai erupted in flames just hours before its world-famous New Year's Eve fireworks display. Witnesses say the 63-storey building was engulfed within minutes of the blaze breaking out. The cause is still not known, but incredibly everyone escaped, with only 16 people suffering minor injuries.
Dubai boasts one of the world's largest fireworks show, but it was this stunning inferno that dominated the skyline. You can see chunks of burning debris raining down on the streets below.
This is not good. This is not good.
Flames 20 floors high roared up the luxury Address Hotel.
The flames went up quickly on the centre of the building, went all the way up, probably at least over the 50th floor.
Within 6 or 7 minutes, the entire side of the building was engulfed in flames.
Some guests were halfway down the fire escape before they heard an alarm.
I went to the balcony, peered out, and then saw flames coming from the next door balcony. The entire balcony and room next door was on fire.
Inside the hotel and adjoining shopping mall, there was almost a stampede as people fled.
It was definitely not a situation like we were on the Titanic or something. It was definitely, women and children weren't to get out first. People were crawling over each other, climbing over each other, pushing each other out of the way.
There was debris raining down from as high up as 20 floors up at least in that building, and now you can see what they're trying to do is to try to get everybody out of the mall area.
Outside, New Year's Eve crowds scattered as the 63-storey building burned above them, and just near the Burj Khalifa, the world's tallest building. The injured were treated on the street.
It was scary. We were wondering what's happening next, and all the people were kind of scared.
To the disbelief of many, the famous fireworks show went ahead. Celebrations shrouded in thick smoke as one of the city's most recognised hotels still burned. Angela Cox, 7 News.
While the celebrations went ahead in Dubai, terror fears dampened festivities across Europe. German police were forced to evacuate 2 train stations in Munich after receiving a tip-off that militants were planning an attack.
10 to 11 on New Year's Eve in Munich. Revellers travelling to city celebrations are told to get out.
Everyone up!
Police in riot gear surround inner-city train stations, standing guard as fireworks signalled the start of a new year. The evacuations followed a tweet from local police. There's the danger of an attack in the area of Munich. Keep away from crowds and avoid the central station and the railway station Parsing. Police had received a tip-off from a friendly intelligence agency that between 5 and 7 Islamic State suicide bombers were planning to target 2 of the city's main railway stations. A threat felt across Europe. In neighbouring Belgium, the streets were eerily quiet for this time of year. Authorities called off events in the capital Brussels after 3 people were arrested over an alleged terror plot.
I think it's backing down to the threat of terrorism.
That's what we're here for, the fireworks, but they've cancelled them.
Fireworks were cancelled in Paris too, but thousands of people still partied in the City of Love. A sea of lights was surrounded by an army of security. 100,000 police were deployed across France as the nation braved its biggest public gathering since November's attacks. Amelia Brace, 7 News.